All right, cool. So what we are going to do is we are going to be moving the bike store from one subscription to another. So we are retiring our AWS server, and we'll be moving and migrating over to Azure Managed Instance. So as we see, we have our bike store database here, and in our other subscription, we don't have a bike store database. Okay, we have an AdventureWorks and Notepad. So we will be bringing over this data, right? We want to tear down AWS, decommission it, and we want to spin up our new Azure instance. So let's take a look at the data schema for the bike store database. It's pretty simple, only like 9 tables. Just notice that we have some different schemas. We have a production schema and a sales schema. Cool. Also, let's take a look at this database, our destination database. Notice there are no tables in this database. So now let's go ahead and build up those tables in this database. Select our SQL instance and target our database and go ahead and execute this query to create the tables. And let's refresh. All right, very good. Now our tables are created. Next thing that we want to do is we want to create our audit database. Okay, so we want to audit this bike store database before we bring over the customer data and before we turn off the lights to our AWS instance and we turn on the switch to our Azure new setup, right? And change the API endpoint. Okay. So now what we want to do is let's go ahead and get this database compliant. So what we'll do is we will go in the destination license and we will create our audit of this new database that we just created effectively. And we'll go ahead and choose this bike store database. And we don't want to exclude any tables. We do have that option if we wanted to not audit any table, but again, why would you want to do that? Let's go ahead and create. Let's refresh. Let's take a look at what we just did by looking at our audit metrics. That we created some indexes, we created some tables, we had a 100% success rate. These are the changes that were made to the database. We also stood up 2 additional databases. We stood up a audit database and an audit lighthouse database. Okay. So now this application database now has an audit database and an audit lighthouse database. Okay, so those of course still live on-prem with all of your data. So at this point, if we were to go into our data explorer and our lighthouse dashboard, we won't see anything, right? There's no data, there have been no transactions on the database. Now we will do the data migration. So we'll be using Redgate to handle this migration. Again, we're moving over from our AWS instance to our SQL instance. And let's compare those databases to see the data deltas. So what we'll do is we'll have Redgate running over here. And we'll have SqlSafeKeep running over here. All right, cool. So the analysis is complete. So we found 1,100 differences. Our numbers show us we got 104 deletes, but the total audits is 1,500. But what is the total resulting set of what is the state of this database right now? There are 1,100 records, right? There were 1,204 inserts, 104 deletes. So the state of the database must be 1,100 records, right? And Redgate just confirmed that, right? There are 1,100 differences. All right, cool. So we see the differences by table. Let's go ahead and deploy this data. Now I'll point out a cool feature for our data scientists and DBAs out here as we deploy. All right, very good. So we saw now the data is now imported, and we have our Lighthouse dashboards where we're at now. And next we will go and look into our Data Explorer. Just want to kind of call out what we're seeing here. Pretty much self-explanatory. We can peek at some of this data and see what's going on. And now we can go into our Data Explorer. And again, this is where we will spend most of our time at. Looking at the data, we can collapse all the tables. We also can filter the tables by alphabet, so we can just get those tables in A to E, K through O, P through T, or we can see all the tables. Also, we can filter the table. So for example, if I were the CTO, I would be interested in the overall health of my organization. So I would be probably interested in things like orders and things like stocks, right? And maybe I want to call this a view. This maybe I'm the CTO. We would probably say system health, right? I may just want to have a look at what's going on with the orders and stocks. Create another view for verticals, right? Things that how we make money is going to be our brands, also our categories and our products. These are our revenue infrastructures and also, of course, stores. So this is what drives revenue, right? So we'll say revenue drivers. Let's go ahead and save this view as the C. Let's just say revenue drivers. Cool. Got a couple saved views up in there now. Now, if I wanted to, I could go and just take a look at that system health view. If I wanted to, I can go and take a look at that revenue drivers. Right? Another thing that may be important for the marketing team may be interested in marketing to customers in California, right? So we may have a California marketing drive that we're doing, and we may also want to look at customers with particular order history, but yeah. So we want to look at the orders as well for a given customer as well as their order items, and we only want customers that are in California. So let's only see those tables, and let's filter on where on the customer table. Let's filter on the customer where the customer city or state is California. Right, and we also only want orders that the order date is within the last 30 days, right? So, and same thing with the order item, the modified date on those must be also within the last 30 days. So we'll just go ahead and say, hey, we only want to look at orders, order date, let's say within the last 30 days. We're running a special for California customers who have actively purchased within the last 30 days, so some days ago, like that, as well as order items. So we'll just do a filter on these. There are some things that are coming where we'll be able to soon join and filter this set by the customer IDs here from set A. Those things are currently in development. And also let's go ahead and filter on these order items, right? Of course, we then thereby filter the order items and do a join off of the order items from the orders. Let's go ahead and build up that filter. So say with the modified date is also within the last 30 days. Very good. So now we'll say